In this video, we are discussing vermouth, and in particular, Dolin vermouth.
We explore vermouth's historical background and the many styles of vermouth.
We'll also walk you through a few classic aperitif cocktails showcasing Dolin vermouth. We're going to be making the Adonis and the Bamboo.
We are Tequila Tavern, hospitality, educating minds and palates on wine, spirits, and food.
Vermouth is fortified wine aromatized with a variety of herbs, roots, spices, and other aromatics.
Fortified means that a spirit, often brandy, is added to the wine.
Because of fortification, vermouth is more shelf-stable than your everyday table wine, but you should still refrigerate it and use it within a few months.
Like wine, it starts to turn to vinegar, which still works very well for cooking.
The complexity of flavors from the mix of wine and fortifying spirit and botanicals is truly delicious all by itself.
This is why it is worth spending a few extra dollars in purchasing a quality vermouth.
Lastly, we can't discuss vermouth without acknowledging quinquinas and americanos, which are two other types of fortified and aromatized wines.
They are similar, but include quinine or additional bitter components.
In 1786, Italian distiller Antonio Benedetto Carpano created an aromatized wine and called it vermouth.
While aromatized wines have been around since 6200 BC, Carpano is credited with creating an incredibly complex and high-quality infusion that was available to the general public for the first time.
It's speculated that the name comes from the German word for wormwood, which is vermouth.
Today, most vermouths use wormwood more as a formality. You don't really taste it.
Still, Carpano's use of the word stuck and slowly morphed into a category of aromatized wines called vermouth.
Often called sweet vermouth, rouge vermouth is a staple for a Manhattan, Negroni, Martinez, and so many more classic and contemporary cocktails.
In classic cocktail books, references to Italian vermouth mean to use rouge or rosso vermouth.
Dark red or brown in color, you enjoy a complexity of floral and fruit, citrus, nut, and herb aromas.
Surprisingly, most rouge vermouth is made from white grapes, and the color, like this, comes from caramel and other botanicals used during the production.
In classic cocktail literature, references to French vermouth are talking about dry vermouth.
In the mid-1800s, dry vermouth was all the rage, often being drank on its own in Parisian cafes.
No drink symbolizes dry vermouth more than the king of cocktails, the martini.
Now, it is a clear or straw-colored beverage.
While dry vermouth is technically dry, many versions have a touch of sweetness, but are still drier than the many other types of vermouth.
You may find tropical and stone fruit flavors along with the floral bouquet that you find on the nose. Blanc vermouth is clear or straw-colored like dry vermouth, but the sugar content is more similar to a rouge.
You'll find this in many classic cocktails like the White Negroni and Corpse Reviver No. 2.
Every bit as flavorful as its two siblings, Blanc vermouth may actually be the most versatile of all the styles.
Blanc vermouth, or Bianco, Italian, is more herb-centric and less spicy than rouge sweet vermouths.
Dolin is credited with creating the first Blanc-style vermouth in the late 1800s.
There are a lot of vermouth brands out there, and in the future we plan to explore many of them.
For this first installment into vermouth, we want to showcase a brand that is easy to find and incredibly delicious. Dolin.
Dolin produces world-class vermouth in Savoy, which is located in the southeastern part of France.
Dolin Vermouth has been produced since the late 1820s using a secret recipe composed of over 30 botanicals foraged from the foots of the Alps.
Focused on bringing out the terroir, Dolin proudly utilizes only local ingredients.
An absinthe distiller, Joseph Chavez, began playing around with aromatized wine in 1821 after trying Italian vermouth.
He was initially inspired to get into the liquor business from the nearby Grand Chartreuse Monastery, but saw a great future in aromatized wines.
By 1830, his vermouth was commercially sold and business began to take off.
His son-in-law, Louis Fernand Dolin, became involved and purchased the distillery in 1852.
When Louis Ferdinand died, his wife, Marie Dolin, who was Chavez's daughter, took over the company in 1869, just as the vermouth craze of the late 1800s was beginning.
She thought big and took on the challenge of crossing the Atlantic to win the gold medal at the 1876 Philadelphia World Fair.
Many awards and marketing campaigns followed, exposing Dolin worldwide.
The company was purchased in 1919 by two local brothers who were family friends and owned a grocery chain nearby, and they helped keep the business afloat during American Prohibition and World War II.
Dolin is still independently owned, which is not so common these days and pretty amazing.
You can use vermouth in cocktails to highlight other ingredients.
You can also make cocktails that highlight the vermouth. Yes, it is that good.
These vermouth-based cocktails often fall into the larger category of aperitif cocktails.
They are simple and low in alcohol, and this makes them a perfect weeknight or Sunday fun day sipper.
They are also a great way to stimulate your appetite in preparation for your meal. Let's make an Adonis. But first, always remember to chill your glass. Here we're using a Nick and Nora style. John's gonna pour out 1.5 ounces of the Rouge Dolin Sweet Vermouth. And then also, this is a equal parts, 1.5 ounce drink. So we have 1.5 ounces of our Fino Sherry. Great cocktail ingredient, also great on its own. And then 1 dash of orange bitters. We're going with Fee Brothers today, but there are plenty of great options out there. Since this is all alcohol, it is a stirred cocktail, so you definitely want to have a mixing glass and some sort of spoon to give that a good 20-second stir. You want to make sure it's properly diluted, chilled. Doesn't chill quite as quickly as shaken drinks, so be patient with it. So the Adonis is actually from the late 1800s, named after a Broadway burlesque show that was the longest running Broadway show at its time. And it's just a nice, easy sipper. Got an orange twist there. Release some of those oils, you can smell it. Garnishes are a lot of fun. Cheers.
Let's make a bamboo. As always, please begin with a chilled glass. We are using a Nick and Nora coupe for this cocktail. And for ingredients, we're going to begin with our blanc vermouth. Again, this is a Dolin video, so we're going to use Dolin Blanc. We have 3/4 ounce Dolin Blanc. Into the mixing glass it goes. Then we have 3/4 ounce of Dolin dry vermouth. Now when there's equal parts in a cocktail, you can call that perfect, or that's what you'll see referenced or called with bartenders. Next we have our 1.5 ounces of Fino Sherry. We're using Tio Pepe for this. Then we're going to have some bitters. There's going to be a dash of orange bitters and then a dash of Angostura. Alright, now Shen is going to fill that mixing glass with ice and give it a good stir. 20 seconds will give you a nice dilution, get it to the proper temperature, make everything nice. If you're a fan of more of a drier style bamboo, then what you can do is just take out the Dolin Blanc and instead go 1.5 ounces of dry. We played around with both of those and we found that we enjoyed the perfect style better. But originally, the first known publication of the bamboo was full dry. Shen's gonna pour this. And then later at the Savoy Hotel, they ended up going with the perfect variation. And again, whichever works for you. It's delicious both ways. We just liked it a little bit more this way. Now Shen is going to express a little bit of orange on top and then put that garnish on the edge of the Nick and Nora glass. And there you have it, a bamboo. Cheers.
We hope you enjoyed learning about vermouth, and more specifically, Dolin vermouth.
Vermouth is a complex topic, so there are an incredible amount of delicious options out there to explore.
If you like reading about wine and spirits, head to tequatavern.com where we post articles about topics ranging from Lillet, which is a quinquina, and Benedictine.
If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel here.
If you'd like to see another video just like this, please